Welcome to Reality Test. I'm Dr. Ray.
And I'm Dr. Kay. Feel free to check in and take a seat wherever you like. I got to start right off with some ownership that we just recorded 11 minutes of this podcast. And then I was like, oh, I've just noticed that my recording device does not have lines on it showing that I'm talking. So thank you to Dr. Ray for patience and also just like undying sweetness, because that was rough. But at least it's 11 minutes.
Hey.
We can do that. Yeah.
That's right. And I've done it before for a whole episode. Let us not forget, I deleted a whole episode and we had to do it all the way over.
We did.
Friends, if you can figure out what episode it was, but like if our points seem practiced, it's because they were, but it was just one time.
Just one time. Early days too. So you have to have the archive. That's a good reason to go back to archive though. Kind of fun. Kind of fun like detective-y work. Yeah, no, that was fun though. I didn't even really mind it. It was good. I think we were able to like incorporate something new because of the time that had passed during that. So there was a benefit. Yeah.
That's true. Yes, the positive reframe.
Exactly.
And while not much time has passed now, we're going to find a way to make this work for ourselves.
Yes, exactly. Because now, right, like I was saying too, it's like now I know the points I was going to make. I can be a little bit like faster about it. And also, I'm going to remember right up front this time, we are therapists, but not your therapist, although we adore you and you'd be welcome to be our clients if we didn't already talk to you in this way. If you didn't know us from this, then we could meet you as our clients and we'd love that. But because we were talking to you one-sided, obviously, we don't want to give you the misconception that we are giving you treatment of any kind. In addition, we're not giving treatment of any kind to the people about whom we speak. We don't know them. We have not met with them individually, and therefore cannot diagnose them or talk about their, mental health beyond speculating, pure speculation, and just like wondering together, and only in the kindest of ways.
Yes, exactly. Mostly the kindest of ways. Sometimes I feel a little shady about people, but we try to be kind.
I kind of like that. I think you do that a little bit more. And sometimes I'm like, and then I'm like, no, I kind of like it. It's like, I think I'm learning from you a little bit about that too. It's like, there's times though, although I also can like rant also. Typically, I will say it's about cis hetero men and some choices that are being made that just like really, as the people in the most power, like that is the most powerful group. I feel like it's good that we voice some of our concerns about that, because that's the only way we're going to get some change in this world. Voice our discontent.
Yes, we are the vocalists of our discontent. Speaking of discontent, yes. I can speak words. Sutton, she's someone to have some discontent about.
Serious discontent.
And
yes, we're talking about the third part of the reunion of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, season 14. And we talked about parts 1 and 2. And go back and listen to that if you haven't, because we are continuing the arc of talking about why I think Garcelle is upset. So definitely find the backstory, because some of this will make more sense that way. But we're excited. We're going back to Beverly Hills, and we're starting right off with Dr. Ray talking about Sutton at the beginning.
Indeed. So, and yeah, this is all fascinating. But Sutton finally got her focus. I'm sure she's very happy. Garcelle is asked by Andy, I believe, if she thinks Sutton brings down women in distress. And Garcelle, in kind of a distant way, says, it looks like that. Yeah. And Sutton was clearly annoyed because she's used to Garcelle like really helping her out. And then Garcelle added, it depends on who too. And I think it kind of goes back to if like earlier in the season when something happened and Sutton didn't stand up for Garcelle with like Kyle or something. And Garcelle, I think, was feeling really annoyed because Garcelle always stands up for Sutton, even though she maybe doesn't always deserve it. And I think she's just like tired.
Right. And I think sometimes Garcelle doesn't even agree with it. Like she'll agree with it because it's Sutton, but she doesn't actually think it. I've seen that happen at times where she sort of is like, well, yeah, I think so. Like, even though it's like, no, you don't. You definitely know better. She definitely is not deserving of that, but she can't help it. She's an ally. And I think that kind of allyship calls for allyship back from the other person, and that Sutton doesn't give it is like a real betrayal. I think, and also we had said this the first time, but this is also like the first sign that Garcelle is taking it seriously, that Sutton hasn't had her back during the reunion so far. Like if she's just getting totally hammered, Sutton isn't taking her side, and Sutton's making it about herself. So Garcelle finally is just like, whatever, then fine, I'll stop.
I'm done. Yep. And then Andy says to Garcelle, do you feel like people are piling on Sutton? And she goes, I'm thinking about me.
Yes.
So she's just in a totally different headspace right now.
Not about Sutton anymore. She's defending herself. Yeah.
And Sutton brings the attention back to herself. And then Andy asks, Garcelle, you were steaming over there, and I wonder if you want to say what's pissing you off so much. which now that I'm like, Andy, maybe you should, it's almost a little like angry black woman language.
Yes.
I don't know.
And also just to say too, because I didn't put this in notes, there was time that passed in between that. It's just that was the more interesting stuff. Like the stuff about Sutton, I was just sort of like, whatever. But then, so eventually, so Garcelle was upset, noticeably upset for good reason. And so then he brings it back. But I agree. The steaming and the saying pissed, it's sort of like, why don't you just say like, you look upset, you know?
Yeah. Like, what's going on for you?
Mm-hmm.
Like this, we can take the emotional words out of it.
Yeah.
But Garcelle says, I don't think I get any grace in this group. We talked about accountability, which is, as you mentioned earlier, Bose's language. So she is like focused on what Bose said.
Yep.
I stand by the things I say, and it's not accepted. Not one person here looked at me and smiled when we first got here, but nothing else.
Yeah.
And then Kyle said, but everyone's stressed coming here, and that's why no one smiled at you. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
No, totally. I was just going to say that, yeah, exactly. Like, this was the moment where I was like, okay, it definitely is about Bose because the accountability language and that, like, feeling like it's not fair that Bose is complimenting Sutton when Garcelle's like, I took up about the fact that I said that about Dorit and the setup being the house robbery being a setup. And I think the thing that is a bummer is, like, I get why Bose wouldn't, like, praise Garcelle on that one thing because Bose, like, deeply has Dorit back on that one thing. So I feel like for Garcelle, that's like, I both understand what Garcelle's saying, but I also feel like you're like, that was just the wrong topic for you to be praised about it. And as I said in the first half, I also think that Bose is sort of holding Garcelle to a higher standard where she's like, you do know about our accountability, so I don't need to say that. I don't need to reaffirm it for you. But for Garcelle to like feel like, okay, the racist person that like, and like that you didn't really get along with, you're like affirming her, but like you're not affirming me. Like, feels shitty.
You're affirming the shit out of her, and she can be really shitty. Like both are true about our friend Dorit.
Yeah. Oh, well, and I was talking about Sutton too, but yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, both.
Yes. Both racist. And then Garcelle and Sutton talk on the side during the commercial, and Sutton says, you're like, I'm not answering any more cues. And Garcelle goes, no, I hate them all. And Sutton says, they all hate me. So doesn't even ask like why, or like just totally brings it back to herself, which, come on.
So hard to see. And just, by the way, just because the listener can't see the, like, cues meaning like questions, not like cues, like CUEs or whatever. And then the other thing I was just going to say is that I just to like really quick go back to that, like after Kyle or whoever said everybody's stressed coming out, so why not smiling? It's like Garcelle, oh yeah, and I want to bring up too why I think she meant that about the smiling thing, because I do actually really care about that. But I think Garcelle continues, like, because she just says like, well, it's just how I'm feeling. And then she goes, it's okay. Which I just hate that, because she's like being dismissive of it, but like not really. Like she obviously low-key wants someone to care about it, you know? And so like no one does. They don't take it up. Like, so she's like, fine, it's fine, you know? And I just wanted to be like, oh, it's not fine. I'm so sorry. But the other thing I was going to say is people really came back to the idea of like, even at the end of this episode where it's like, oh my gosh, of course we're not smiling. Like we're here. It's stressful. It's like, I don't think it's that. Like, I don't think it's like, I think personally it's more about, again, Bose, like not smiling when Garcelle might be looking at Bose. And so like, again, it's that piece about from the first episode we did on this, where it's like, there's this underlying thing between Bose and Garcelle where they both have experiences as Black women, but they also both have this unspoken like thing between them that they can like quickly fall into their own way of talking with each other that they can't another way. So like I could see Garcelle thinking, yeah, sure, like we can be here and both be like in our game hats or whatever, wearing our game hats. But like if I smile at you and we're acknowledging something together, like that would be like a way of us showing that we're both still on good ground. And so if Bose isn't doing that, that would be another reason Garcelle feels dropped by Bose and like worries that, you know, she's not being affirmed. And I think also to that point, like that would make it a micro invalidation if Garcelle were looking to Bose during a microaggression. So like if something happens a little bit racist, or like if a microaggression where it's like unintended but very much a slight, and you know, for example, a complimenting person of color for being eloquent as if that's a surprise, that's a microaggression. It was meant as a compliment, but it's very much racist. So in that moment, if then someone goes, the person who that was about goes to someone else and says, wasn't that racist? They were surprised it was eloquent. And that other person goes, oh, no, you're just being sensitive. That's a micro invalidation. So it's like the extra insult. And so for Garcelle to like look, I could imagine her looking to Bose at some points when something racist might happen and just sort of being like this is one of those things or whatever. And if she does that and then Bose doesn't acknowledge or smile back, that would be like an extra really like upsetting version of not being affirmed, like including about a microaggression. So I could see if any of those dynamics happened there between the two of them, that would be something that would stick in her craw and like would be worth bringing up. As sort of like, no one's like looking to me at all, you know, like no one's smiling, no one's like. And I think there's, of course, like there are moments that these women all know about that we don't. So like there's moments that they're on camera, they can't say out loud, this is another thing where Andy's asking an inflammatory question. They can't say like, oh, here's another thing the producer said earlier that like is coming back up into the room. They can't say those things. So they have to look to each other, get those moments of eye contact, get those moments of like little subtle smiles as a way of like, that's like us connecting. And I think everyone does it. So I think that's why Garcelle's like, why am I not getting any of those moments? You know, like no one thinks to look to me to sort of be like, that's one of those things. Like if you think about class, like students do it all class, right? All through class. It's like, we got to be able to like look to each other. And for the students have to be able to look to each other and just sort of be like, one of those things, because they can't say it, you know? And so I feel like that must happen during reunions. And that is something we don't know as a viewer. And so like, we wouldn't know that that's what she means. And I feel like that's tough. That then what we hear instead by the producers' points, because the producers made these decisions, what we hear as a response to that instead is people like Kyle being like, well, we're just stressed. So then the audience is like, right, they're just stressed. Of course they're not smiling. It's like, no, it doesn't matter. You know, if it's like a way of like having a little moment during the thing that they can't say out loud, then that's a huge deal.
And she was looking for that from Bose.
Yeah, exactly. At least, exactly.
Yeah. And then after the commercial, Jennifer Tilly is asked in regards to Garcelle's famous list of lovers if she has any. She said, I wish I had slept with more above the name actors, but I slept with squishy comedians. I like the squishy comedians. I didn't like the way Erica talked about Garcelle's like list of people she slept with. It just, it didn't feel, it felt like very shady and unfair to her. But yeah.
Yes, so unfair. It feels like she's sort of like aging her or something, because she keeps saying things like, well, why aren't you with any of them now? Or like, why didn't it work with them? Like, it's sort of, it's like, who do you have lately? And Garcelle's like, I don't know. I like went on a date with one person. Like, she's very open about it too, actually. But she's like, went on a date with one person, it didn't work out. Like, enough said, Yeah. But yeah, the way that Erica comes for it, and then also like behind the scenes, like direct to camera, it's just too much. It's none of your business.
Yeah, none of your damn business, Erica.
None of it. So now we're looking at Erica's turn. She's next. So Andy brings up that she had another successful turn at Chicago. And she says, well, it was unfinished business because of what happened with Tom, which, by the way, I was not even fully aware of. But that must have been why Ariana Maddox was on it for a while, was because Erica was brought off because of Tom. Yeah. Whoa, another Tom. I didn't even think about that. Dude.
Whoa, that's weird.
That is fucking trippy. Tom Sandoval.
Toms.
Tom Sandoval, Tom Girardi. If anyone doesn't know, Ariana Maddox was cheated on very famously by Tom Sandoval. So at the time, Erica was sort of like, I think basically like Andy said something like, were you worried you weren't going to be able to finish it? And Erica was like, well, I was worried about getting through each day, which is like a great point. And then she said, she brought up the relationship with her son and how they're much closer than ever. She said, if that's what it took to strengthen my relationship with my son, though, great, it was worth it. And I thought that was really nice.
I agree.
Yeah, it's really sweet. This next one I have a segment for, which you might too. Cool. So this next one, Andy says to Erica, he's like, I love your therapist. He said, she teaches you about empathy, and then she tells you that this wasn't a pizza party behavior, not pizza party behavior. So obviously this is like when therapy was mentioned.
Yes, I forgot to do this segment, so I will tag on because it was mentioned, so sorry.
Yeah, no, it's so, yeah, no, it makes total sense. It was the only time it was really mentioned too, so I feel like it would be both of ours for sure. And what I liked about it was not what he said, but what she said in response, which both showed integration of the therapy itself and also like, her own growth in general, both for therapeutic reasons and because I think Erica's growing. So she reflects for us. She says, these women have known me married and holding up crumbling walls, and then going through a dark period where I was mad, drinking, acting a fool, and being mean to everybody. But now you've seen me emerge, and it's my nature to be more this way than how I was as a vicious on-guard animal. Whoa, that's interesting too, though. As a vicious on-guard animal. And yeah, right? Because there was a little bit of that. As a vicious on-guard animal. And I loved that. I was like, great point. And I think that's probably some imagery she got from her therapist, and I think it's also like a really great reclaiming of her life, and I think that's really nice. I also have to agree, because how she was before that happened also was not like that. It was a very like distinct period of time where she was like very not in touch with what was going on. That's tough.
Her feelings. Yeah.
I like
this for Erica. I like this version of her.
And I like how she was before it, but I don't. Yeah, so I like her a lot. She's always been one of my favorites. I have to say, there's moments with Garcelle that I don't like when she says like just be more interesting, and I was like fuck you, like, you know. And I think she was just joking. She was genuinely joking. She even actually, when I rewatched it, said that basically she was like, well, you kind of led me there, you know, which was like her kind of saying like, you know, I made a joke, but like you gave me that joke. It's like that's what we say when we make a joke that's inappropriate. It's like, well, you gave me the opening, right? Like, so I think that's sort of where she was going with it. But I also get why Garcelle took it seriously too. Anyway. So Andy then goes down a line of questioning about Tom Girardi. Why not divorce Tom? And she's like, basically, it's the lowest priority of my issues. And then she goes, and I don't know how that works to divorce an incompetent person. He was found incompetent in court, incompetent to stand trial. And I want to mention, like, there is a way to do it. So, like, I was just going to take a little bit of a pivot. And I don't know if I actually made this a section or not segment. I don't think so. So you can't sign paperwork or consent if your right mind is not in action. So like if somebody's not like fully able to like make decisions for themselves and their well-being, they cannot sign paperwork or give consent. However, if that's the case, then that person also typically has a caregiver, and that caregiver can do that. And so it would be like a way of like finding who was named as like his caregiver or like as having rights to make decisions for him. So that's what I would say as a response to Erica's question.
It could be done.
Right? It's like helpful. And then the defense, because of that, though, because he was found incompetent, the defense is pushing for hospitalization instead of prison. And so Andy brought that up. And then he also said, do you think Tom is guilty? And Erica says, it doesn't really matter what I think. It's about the law, and that's where it lies. And I loved that answer. It was also very political because she can't say he's guilty because then it would look like she knew he was. You know, it's like, even though that's not what it means actually, because she could just now think he's guilty. It's like if she says, yes, he's guilty, then people could be like, how long did you know he was guilty? Did you know that back when you were with him? Because then you should have known, and like, da-da-da-da. So I think she had to say exactly what she said, but I also thought it was a good answer.
Abso-frickin-lutely. Oh, I lost my place. Shit.
It's actually another Sutton's turn. I should have been like Sutton's turn part 2, because then it's about Sutton and Reba.
Sutton's turn part 2.
And you can do the next 2 because they're short.
Yeah, I really liked the visit with Reba. I was glad that happened. Erica compares Reba to her grandmother and says Reba has unresolved trauma. She absolutely does. Sutton said, I should try to put it in my mom's perspective because maybe she was scared. I've had a lot of problems still that I need to work out in my brain. Forgiving my dad will be really good, and forgiving my mom will be even better, which will hopefully roll into being a better friend. I know I need to grow, be better. I love that for Sutton. And I really think that there's some good there and there's some prickly points. And gosh, her mom is tough. Like,
yes.
And yeah. And I thought that was a really lovely kind of closening of that relationship that was helped by Garcelle, a lot of Garcelle and a little Kyle.
Yes. Yeah.
Which was cool.
I felt like Reba was racist. I'm going to just say that.
Yes.
I thought she was very racist.
And that's why she liked Kyle so much more. It felt that way. Yeah.
Which also says a lot about Sutton. It's also very much like a Southern thing. Not that makes it okay in any way, because it doesn't. But the context is, the idea, and it's worth mentioning, is like in the South, they're outwardly racist. And in the North, they think they're not racist, but they are. And like, which one's worse, right? Like, frankly, they're both terrible and neither should happen. But the danger of being in the North and having that perspective is like, you don't know you're being hurtful, and like, and you think you're good, and you're not working on it, because you think you're fine. So it's like something that we all should be working on for life. But yeah, so my sense of that was like, especially because Rita was a therapist, I was kind of like, but I think Garcelle did her best to navigate it. And I agree, was a big part of helping it. Yeah.
And didn't complain or make it about her. And my God, could she have in so many ways? Like, it's like a get out situation. Like,
yes.
Yeah. Oof. Then there was a recognition for Teddy, a former housewife. Andy asked how she's doing. She had brain cancer.
Yeah, she does. She still does. She has a number of brain tumors, a number of them. And they're spreading. They're like in her lungs too, I think, or something. So she has a number of brain tumors. They're spreading. She's in the middle of like going through surgeries. I think it's pretty bad. That's really, yeah.
And yeah, Kyle said she had a long road ahead of her. The other day we FaceTimed Erica Bose. We FaceTimed like Kyle and Teddy, and Erica and Bose both reached out, and she thought that was sweet. That was nice of them to reach out.
Yeah, it was.
It's a hard thing. And then I think Andy asked Dorit, did you reach out? And then Dorit was like, I did something on Instagram so telling about how she... But when she's not in the thick of it, I feel like it's a better time to check on her. But yet you can do an Instagram and you're not going to reach out to her personally. I just thought, because that's something that I could like, a lot of the stuff they go through is so unrelatable that I can't think of, but like that is something that could happen in anyone's life. And if someone did that and didn't also reach out to the person, I would say that's fucked up. Like,
yeah, just on Instagram and not reaching out in person, rough. I have to say, too, what was ironic about that was that there was this whole thing last season, I think, where everyone's been hating on Teddy for a while now, just because, for various reasons. And whatever, I like Teddy, she's fine. But the thing that was interesting last season was that everyone was like, don't you hate Teddy like Dorit? Like, Dorit was, like, supposed to be hating Teddy like everyone else did, but she had actually, like, reposted a picture of Teddy on Instagram. And so everyone was like, why? Yeah. Like, why are you doing that? Because you hate her or whatever. And so I thought that was interesting that this time she was sort of, like, going harder on the, like, I don't like her, I haven't checked in on her, narrative, quote unquote, when it's like worst time to be like that. And also like, but she did still do something on Instagram, just like the issue last season. So it's just a really interesting parallel / contradiction.
I do like about Kyle that despite like Teddy getting a lot of hate, I really respect that about her. She's been a great friend to Teddy and has not like given in to that. I think that's a big plus about Kyle.
Yeah. And she doesn't care that other people don't. Like, she's not like trying to convince anybody. She's just like, I'm still going to like her. And I like that as well. Like, I like she's sort of very much like you, Dr. Ray, too. It's like, she's very much like, I'm going to have my own opinion about people and I'm going to have my own friendships with people. And like, I don't care. Y'all can do what you want. And I really like that.
I think you do that too.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It is one of those things like over time you learn. It's just like people have their opinions, they have their own experiences. And if we all just like do our own thing. The other thing that's nice about that is that means that we can... But if you all would like to see more of us, like the full video, if you're not watching the full video already, that's on patreon.com/realitytest with a capital R&T. You can also do like @realitytest in the search bar. You can also do Instagram, and that's going to be at Dr. Ray Pods and at Dr. K Pods, or on TikTok at dr.realitv, REALITV. And we're also on YouTube and Facebook at Reality Test Pod with an @ symbol for YouTube to get to our channel. Last but not least, we are also on email at Gmail at realitycheckpodding, PODDING, @gmail.com.
Indeed. And rate, review, subscribe, and tell all your friends.
Please do. Come hang out.
Yes. And we'll see you next session.
Bye.